now well past the second month of nationwide lockdown, as it happens to be the 68th day of extended lockdown today. It has been a turbulent few days with a massive rise in the number of COVID-19, as 170 people were detected with coronavirus yesterday, which is the highest single-day spike in the country. Good morning, I'm Amar Singh Pradhan, and these are the headlines of the hour. The number of coronavirus cases in country climbs to 1,226 as additional 14 individuals from Delhi test positive for the virus this morning. Nepal confirmed 6th death due to COVID-19 yesterday. Parliament's State Affairs Committee directs government to remove infrastructures constructed by India along with human settlement on the no man's land at Nepal-India border. Finance Minister's place to curb unnecessary expenses fails to reflect in annual budget. Government likely to face more challenges in resource management. And US President Donald Trump says the United States will end its relations with the World Health Organization over the UN body's handling of the coronavirus pandemic. The number of coronavirus cases in country has climbed to 1,226 as additional 14 individuals from Delhi tested positive for the virus this morning. 170 individuals had tested positive to the virus yesterday, the highest daily spike in cases in the country. Among the 170 infected, 165 are male and 5 are females. Likewise, 206 individuals have been discharged from the hospital after full recovery. According to the Health Ministry, a total of 3,238 samples were tested, among which 56 individuals tested positive in Raudhat, 51 in Kapilvastu, 28 in Jhapa and 10 in Pake. Likewise, 5 in Parsa, 4 each in Bara, Sarlai and Saptari, and 2 each in Nawalparasi East and Dang have tested positive. Myagdi in Gandaki province has recorded its first case. With this, the virus has spread to 52 districts as of latest update. According to the ministry, Province 2 has the highest number of COVID-19 infection with 490 positive cases, while Province 5 has 433 cases. Likewise, Province 1 has recorded 157 cases, Bagmati Province 44 cases, Gandaki Province with 20 cases, while Karnali Province has 61 cases, and Sudur Paschim Province has recorded 21 cases as of latest update. Meanwhile, Nepal confirmed 6th death due to the COVID-19 yesterday. According to the Health Ministry, a man from Bhumikasthan Municipality 9 in Arghakhanchi had died at Nepal-India border area due to the infection while heading back home district on 23rd of May. His swab sample was collected and tested in a laboratory in Bhairava, in which he tested positive for the virus. All the individuals who have lost their lives in Nepal due to coronavirus have been confirmed positive to the virus only after their deaths so far. According to the ministry, 99,336 people are in several quarantine centers across the country, while around 1,000 people are in isolation. The State Affairs Committee under the House of Representatives has directed the government to remove the physical infrastructures constructed by the Indian side on the no man's land at Nepal-India border and make the area encroachment-free. The committee has directed the government to remove the road, track and embankment in the area so as to implement the international border law, and also to remove the physical infrastructures and human settlement. Summoning Home Minister Ram Bahadur Thapa and Foreign Minister Pradeep Gyamwali in its meeting yesterday, the committee asked the government to take diplomatic initiatives at the earliest to hold discussion with India to pull out its security forces and remove its infrastructures from the area of Lipulek in Darchula. Speaking at the meeting, Foreign Minister Gyamwali informed that the government has already conveyed the Indian government regarding the issue and is awaiting dates for talks with the government of India to settle the ongoing rift and border issues between the two nations. Likewise, the committee has asked the government to construct the border pillars at the rivers along the border if the Indian government fails to do so, citing that India has not implemented the agreement in this regard. Likewise, the committee has suggested that the government should amend the Armed Police Force Act if needed to deploy the APF for border security and controlling crimes in the area. According to committee chair Sasi Shrestha, the committee has reminded the government to address the problem of the residents of the border area and facilitate them with necessary services. Earlier, the National Human Rights Commission had drawn the government's attention regarding the problems being faced by Nepalese living in the border area and to address their problems at the earliest. The human rights body had urged the government to take necessary measures in removing the structures unilaterally constructed by the Indian side that has been causing flooding and inundation at the Nepalese side of the border. The government has decided to rescue stranded Nepali nationals abroad. The meeting of the high-level committee formed to prevent and control COVID-19 pandemic held yesterday at the office of the Prime Minister and Council of Ministers in Singapore endorsed the work plan to bring home Nepali nationals based on priority and urgency. With this decision, Nepali nationals who have been abroad for different purposes, including studies, family visits and businesses, along with the ones who have been stranded due to termination of visas and contracts, will be brought back based on priority and urgency. The government has also fixed 20 border points for those coming by road. The government will make a checklist once the Foreign Ministry collects data within 10 days of the people who want to return home and will start the rescue operation on the basis of the listed data. Finance Minister Yuvraj Khattiwada, while unveiling the budget for the upcoming fiscal year, had pledged that the government would scrap all kinds of miscellaneous expenses. The expenses for trivial purposes, however, have been given continuity in the annual budget, which shows the government's failure in curbing unnecessary expenses from the state coffers. After challenges incurred in resource management due to the coronavirus crisis, the Finance Ministry slashed 13.5% of the development budget. The government, however, has not reduced the current expenditures meant for the financial perks of the leaders and government staff. Meanwhile, bigger budgets have been allocated for a number of headings which, according to the Finance Minister, should have been scrapped in the upcoming fiscal year. Allowance under the headings Local, Field, Meeting, Motivational Travel and Daily Allowance, among others, have been given continuity in the budget. This suggests that Finance Minister Khattiwada has failed to curb unnecessary expenses even at a time when there are significant challenges in resource management due to economic setbacks caused by the precautionary measures, including the nationwide lockdown aimed at containing the coronavirus outbreak. Likewise, the general expenditures are 59 billion rupees more than the revenue collection target, while the targets of foreign grants and loans are also comparatively huge. This indicates that the government will be having a hard time in managing expenses in the upcoming fiscal year as well. Finance Minister Dr. Yuvraj Khattiwada has said that the need of the hour has compelled the government to downsize the budget for the upcoming fiscal year as compared to the current fiscal year. Speaking at a press meet to evaluate the annual budget unveiled on Thursday, Finance Minister Khattiwada clarified that the government could not increase the size of the budget for the upcoming fiscal year as the country's economy is fighting against the global pandemic of COVID-19. Stating that the government has presented the small-sized budget as the situation of the country is not normal, Minister Khattiwada said that in a normal circumstance, the size of the budget would have increased by about 14%. Minister Khattiwada clarified that the government has allocated the budget giving priority to the health and education sectors and added that the government has reduced the size of the budget for other sectors as per the need of the situation. The Finance Minister claimed that programs included in the budget will generate 700,000 to 800,000 employments within the country. According to the Minister Khattiwada, the government has brought overall budget worth 55 to 60 billion rupees as relief package. Minister Khattiwada meanwhile urged the stakeholders not to undermine the budget as the government has given priority to sectors which need more fund at the moment. As the daily new cases of novel coronavirus in the southern neighbor India has recently spiked, there has been a significant increase in the number of Nepalese entering via border transits from Jhapa to Kantipur. Among the returnees are a large number of women and children who were compelled to go through difficult and at times risky journey back home. Women who have lost their jobs in India have started returning to Nepal through the border transits carrying young children on their back, braving the lack of basic needs along with food and accommodation. Even after the challenging journey, many are still uncertain when they would actually reach their home districts. The women travelers are left without food for themselves and their children, let alone proper place for shelter. Being unable to earn and feed their families, many women from remote villages in Nepal have been involved in various manual jobs in India. A majority of them have even taken their children with them to their work destinations in India. They have now started returning to Nepal due to the growing cases of coronavirus infections in India, but have been left largely unattended by the concerned authorities at the border transits in terms of their coronavirus screening along with basic food and travel facilities. The effects of COVID-19 is continuously evolving and impacting all aspects of life as the public try to adapt to the new reality. As the lockdown continues, the fundamental shifts in the media consumption among the public has also changed. According to a recent study, more than 80% of consumers say they are watching more television, with 32% spending a couple hours more per week, 26% are watching 2 hours more a day, 12% are watching about an hour more per day, and 10% are watching 2 hours a day more. According to the World Economic Forum, 80 to 90% of people consume news and entertainment for an average of almost 24 hours during a typical week. Even in Nepal, it is proven that people are spending more time in front of TV and digital platforms to stay connected and updating themselves with pandemic-related news. People are opting these mediums to stay entertained and also educate themselves. As a result of social distancing at home, consumers are spending more time watching news and entertainment-related programs in their television. And now time for our segment Public Pulse, where it texts us with their opinion.
Public Pulse.
And the question is, what's your take on the country's defense budget exceeding the agricultural budget? And our options are option A, unreasonable priority, option B, army's prevalence, and option C, indifference towards farmers. The voting is on. Type NAWS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. And now time for our special segment, Media Watch.
The ethnicity-based violence in Rukum on 23rd of May has demonstrated the extent of cruelty prevailing in the society. The incident left 5 dead, while 1 other is missing. Even as strong voices are raised from different sectors to book the guilty, ministers and lawmakers have advocated for a probe committee in such ethnic violence. The formation of the probe committee looking after legal system, however, does not establish a good precedent. Lawmaker Janardhan Sharma, who hails from Rukum and was once Home Minister, recommended for a probe committee. Sharma's demand was seen as a ploy to politicizing the incident instead of seeking legal action against perpetrators. The crimes of ethnic violence and mass killing are to be probed and prosecuted through legal provisions. However, the Home Minister formed a probe committee led by a government official. Experts feel that investigating the incident through a probe committee could help the culprit find leeway and escape punishment. Such probe committees were formed in the infamous Nirmala Panta rape and murder case and gold smuggling case, among others, that could not reach a concrete conclusion as victims are still awaiting justice. Analysts believe that police investigation for such criminal cases should be the top priority of the state rather than politicizing such incidents. Minister for Foreign Affairs Pradeep Gewali has urged the Indian government to pull out its military force from the Kalapani area. Speaking with Indian newspaper The Hindu, Minister Gewali reiterated that the border issue should be settled at earliest, but the Indian government should pull back the Indian military force stationed from the area. Minister Gewali clarified that Nepal expects India to accept and respect the Sugoli Treaty. Minister Gewali expressed his dissatisfaction over the construction of the new road link at a time when Nepal proposed for the talk after India issued a political map including the Nepalese territory instead of settling the land dispute. Minister Gewali claimed that recent Indian steps have breached the agreement inked during the visit of the then Indian Prime Minister Inder Kumar Gujral to Nepal in 1997. During the visit of the Indian Prime Minister, Nepal and India inked an agreement to work through a joint technical team to settle the border dispute in Kalapani and other places and agreed to refrain from any unilateral activities in the region. However, India has kept on increasing its military activities, adding number of forces and infrastructures. almost 5,000 Indian security forces, including army men, Indo-Tibetan Border Police Force, Border Security Force, and Indian police are currently deployed in the area. Meanwhile, India has said that it is ready to hold talks with Nepal on border issues only if positive initiatives are taken. Speaking at a regular press meet at the Indian Ministry of External Affairs, spokesperson Anurag Srivastava said that the constructive and positive initiatives were needed for talks between Nepal and India to settle the recent tensions. Spokesperson Srivastava said that India was ready for dialogue with all its neighbors. However, he maintained that the mutual sensitivity and respect are required along with an atmosphere of trust and confidence. Spokesperson Srivastava said that India is ready for talks considering the Nepalese concern and sensitivity regarding the border dispute, and added that India has been monitoring the recent development regarding the issue.
We are open. India is open to engaging with all its neighbors on the basis of mutual sensitivity and mutual respect in an environment of trust and confidence. This is a continuous process and it requires constructive and positive efforts.
The dispute between the two nations increased after Nepal issued its revised political and administrative map, including the territory of Limpiadhura, Lipulekh and Kalapani. Nepal has maintained its stand on the bilateral talks with India to settle the ongoing border dispute. This is Amit Bakurel for Media Watch and Kantipur News Desk.
And those were our latest headlines. Stay with us for more news and entertainment on KTVSD. Stay home, stay safe, and have a good day.